what do you consider the sort of weirdest sexual myth that you've heard? You know, like things like you can't get pregnant if you have sex while standing up.
Oh, weird sexual myths. I've written a lot about this before. What are like weird? What is like a weird sex myth? Oh, I had a guy who was legitimately in his 20s, like late 20s, and he was like, "Well, the female orgasm doesn't exist. Like it's just a myth." And I was like, "Oh, is it? Is it though?" And it was really uncomfortable because I don't think I had actually heard somebody who really believed that before. And that was really weird. Also, a lot of times, what do people say? Weird shit, like you can't get pregnant when you're on top because of gravity. Like these are just stupid things, and they're just more. That's just more responsibility for general male and female ignorance because when we're being told this bullshit, we don't know what to believe.
Yeah, I mean, we had somebody in school who lost her virginity and said it's okay, you can't get pregnant if you do it while you're standing up. And she
Yeah,
was.
I had a girl in high school say she didn't lose her virginity because it was anal. So people believe what they're going to believe.
You have to kind of wonder where these kind of ideas come from. You know, it's interesting. Let's put it that way. So, while you've been investigating and researching and learning, etc., what's the weirdest or most interesting sex fact you've discovered over the years? Is there something that's kind of blown you away when you've learned about it? That probably didn't
Sex
come out right.
trafficking. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, I just learned something that was. Oh, well, I mean, can I do a fertility fact? Because I just learned this.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I went to an egg freezing seminar last night. Do you know what egg freezing is?
It's sort of like IVF sort of thing.
It's a little bit like IVF. Essentially, like young women who are in their 20s or 30s can get a bunch of their eggs frozen so that they can save them. So if they want to have a baby later,
Ah, right. So they can
yeah, then
reuse.
they can use IVF. So I learned yesterday that if you freeze your eggs and you have a equal chance of getting pregnant through IVF in your 40s as you would in your 20s because you use your young eggs.
If you've got somebody who has been maybe in a relationship for ages, they're very experienced with their partner, they've gone through the phases, they've gone past the honeymoon period, shall we say. How can they keep the spice there? How can they keep the fires burning?
Um, well, I think that first of all, I think that a lot of couples they let things get a little bit um, stale. They sort of just are okay with the fact that they've been in a long-term relationship, so they shouldn't need to keep it up. And they're like, "Oh, we don't have sex as much. That's fine. We'll just deal with that." And that actually isn't a good thing. You should always try to keep the fires burning in your long-term relationship because that's really important. And sex is always going to be important. And even if you have kids, like you just have to keep having sex all the time. My mom tells me this all the time. And she and my dad are in their 60s. So, TMI. But I think if you want to keep the fires burning in your relationship, you have to be really open and honest about your feelings and like what is working for you and what isn't. If you want to try something that might be a little bit outside of your partner's comfort zone, you have to be willing to talk about that. Like maybe they don't want to do it, but if you talk about it, you'll feel better about it. And you have to be willing to try new shit. I always say like you should try pretty much everything one time. Like even pegging. I think all guys should try pegging. And I think that it's cool to experiment. And maybe you try it and you don't like it, and that's okay, but you should still try it. So I think that experimenting and being sure that you're still connecting with your partner in a sexual way for as long, even though you've been together forever, is going to be really important to keeping your relationship strong.